Hello everybody. In this video, we're going to drill a hole in my perfectly good deck and install this Newport Dickinson solid fuel burner. Need some heat? Hey everybody, so more do-it-yourself DIY fun here today. So I'm going to be drilling a hole in my perfectly good ceiling and deck above, and in fact it's going to be a big hole. I'm going to be making it 4.5 inches in diameter, and the reason for that is that I picked up a stove. And I don't know if you can see over there, but I bought the Newport solid fuel heater just so I can take the chill out of the air. Although I'm going to go to the south, I'm also going to go to some colder climates. And I decided that even just here in the dock and over the winter time while I'm working on a few things, it might be nice to take the chill out of the air. I'm going to do an unboxing of the parts that I picked up, and hopefully I have enough. And then I made this little stand, and unfortunately I think my legs are too high because I'd like to bring it just a slight smidgen closer, like 2 inches. So when I kind of did my rough calculations, I wanted to make sure, okay, I was 8 inches, and I wanted 8 inches of clearance here between the mast. That way I had lots of room. And then I might put put a heat shield or deflector here on the mast. I'll just wait and see. Apparently these stoves are not super hot at the stove part, but more on the piping. And then so what I've got, and this is part of the piping that I'm going to need, but basically what I've got is a heat shield that goes around the whole piping as well. So I bought enough to do the piping. So what I intend on doing is mounting it here facing forward. It'll have a nice little cozy spot here to the side when I want to just do some reading and have the stove on. And I'm hoping that that is going to be good enough. If I might have to put a heat shield right here next to the cushion, so I'll check that out, see how I do. And I definitely won't be using it while I'm sailing. That's not the intention of it, but I guess we'll see how that goes. And then I'll show you up on the deck. Now, I've got a placement for it, and I decided that I didn't want it right in, sort of like in behind here. So what happens is that my rope, my jib sheet, when I tack, comes across here and sometimes touches the mast. So I had to be behind the mast. And then I have a bulkhead right here, nice big solid one. So this is where I'm going to drill the hole, and I'm anticipating that between the deck and the cabin top that there's an air gap. So I have some West Systems 105-205, and what I intend on doing is making a paste, filling it up here today, letting it harden. It's probably going to need about, I don't know, 5-6 hours to harden. And then at the same time, I'm going to, head back up to the my shop, and I'm just going to cut the feet down just a smidgen more because the legs are just a bit too long. So I'm going to make them just a bit shorter. So I'm going to remeasure my distance that I need right now with my tape measure. And then I'm going to go back and redo that. Hopefully this thing will be hardened enough when I get done the drilling and put the epoxy in. It doesn't need to be super hard. I just want to make sure that it's filled so that there's no air gaps going into in between the two. And then there's a rubber ring that goes around on the cap that goes through the deck, and there's a rain lid. So basically water goes off and there's a rubber underneath. And because I'm on the anti-slip here, it's a little bit bumpy, so I'm actually going to put a bead of Sikaflex underneath the rubber, just so it sits well and it makes a weather seal, tight seal around the edge. And so that's the plan for today. Yeah, one of the other things I did is that there's this deck plate comes with a nice decorative inside plate. So I wanted to make sure that this was going to fit okay. So that's where it's going to go, roughly. It might be just a smidgen one way or the other, so I'm going to drill a small hole first right through the center, and then I'm going to use that hole to guess, or if I have to go forward or backwards. I just want to see how close I am to this mark. So with a small hole I can kind of reorient. I just want to make sure that the inside is good, and then the pipe will come down and then go down into the stove here. So basically it'll kind of come down with an elbow, come down and go into the stove. And it needs to be at least 4 feet long, so that's one of the other reasons why I gotta lower these 2 standoffs. So a little bit of maintenance to do here today. Bought this boat with very little. Had no working engine, no instruments, and I gutted it. I pulled the engine out, and then I decided to go electric. So I put an electric motor in, and had a whole learning curve about that. So I learned about batteries and charging systems and wiring and house banks, all the different solar panel and monitoring systems. And that's what this channel is about. It's about sharing the knowledge that I learned, documenting my journey as I retrofitted this boat. I'm looking forward to next year. Next year I'm going to be taking the boat out to the coast, into the ocean, and I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully you can follow along and join me. Jeez, oh, that's a new one. I broke my bit right in the hole. Well, I'm going to switch to cobalt bits. There's still some steel and things in there. Plus, when you drill through fiberglass, it gets pretty damn hot. I think that's probably why the drill bit broke. But I just wiggled it out with a pair of pliers. It came out pretty easy. All the way through. So I'm gonna go check the inside, see what that looks like. Here's my mark, pretty damn close. I say it off by about 4 or 5 millimeters. So this is going to be the center of this plate right here. So that's perfect to see. It's not touching the bulkhead or anything. There's nothing around it. Easy access to the heater right below. Happy about that one. Now the big drill. There's a piece of steel, aluminum in the decking. There's a piece of steel in here. It's pretty thick. That's at least 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch thick. So I'm getting through it, but my little drill is just on fire here. It's smoking. It's so hot. So I got to take it easy here. Give a break. This boat is beside me. They've got triple 400s on the back. It's a lot of power for that little boat. This is how thick my my deck is. So it's got it's about an inch thick, and I've got fiberglass. Then I've got a steel, another piece of fiberglass. I've got some wood core on the inside, and then fiberglass, and that's about an 1/8 of an inch thick of the fiberglass. So total it's about an inch, and that's why it's been so solid. I'm going to get some epoxy and I'm going to fill this gap in underneath here. There's the view from up top. I just shoved some fiberglass in and around the hole, and then I'm going to epoxy on the inside there. And so I'm just using that to have a bit of a backdrop, and then the epoxy will stick to it, all these little strands, and it'll absorb into the fiberglass there. The only reason why I'm doing that is just if somehow water gets in here, I just don't want it going in between the liners. I'm thinking 2 pumps is going to be enough. Right now it's plus 15 out, so I'll have about 20 minutes, half an hour working time with this. So in mixing the 403 microfibers, what I like to do is mix about an equal volume of mixture to the liquid, and that will give me about probably like peanut butter consistency. And that's really what I'm looking for here. And wear a mask. You don't want to breathe this silica. You'll get this in your lungs, it never comes out. It's not an exact science. I just want this to not run. So you can see that's not runny. So I mixed the mixture without the silica first, and then I thickened it with this. So I just put a bit of fiberglass in around to create a backing. And now I'm just going to fill in the gap with this here. And if there's any epoxy, or sorry, if there's any fiberglass that is in the way, it'll absorb the filler that I'm putting in. I forgot to do a step here. There's a little bit of wood in here, so I didn't put anything really on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my, I have a little rotary tool. I'm going to go through and I'm going to grind that all out. I'm going to fill in there as well, just in case water gets in there. I don't want water going into this wood piece. Okay, so just to tidy up here, you can see I took out the wood. I basically ground that all out with a rotary bit. It went right in there for probably about a half an inch. So I'm going to go now and fill that all in. Man, this is so tight. It's one size bigger than that. Hey, 532s. I gotta go find a 532. You heading in over there or over here?
I'm going to go in here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Gonna be nice and toasty warm. Oh, this is the first fire. Just threw some paper in and some pellets. I picked up a bag of hardwood pellets, and I'm just going to try that out and see how that goes. Apparently they work pretty good. I'm sitting here on the floor because I just lit it up right there. You can see behind me. It was pretty simple putting together. Probably the most time-consuming thing was me building that stand for it. I put stainless steel on a 3/4 inch old bulkhead piece of wood that I had to protect the bedding, and then it's got 8 inches all the way around it, and then I basically put the heat shield on the exhaust, the chimney, all the way up to the roof up there. So I don't want to burn it too hot. I just wanted to get something burning, so I can go take a look and see actually what it's doing. It looks like the pellets have caught on fire now, which is cool. So I learned a couple things. Originally I thought I was going to have to do a fiberglass cap leveler up on the top, but then I was reading the instructions and they said that as long as the angle is not more than 15 degrees when the chimney exits, then it's fine. And mine worked out to be about where it is, maybe about 10 degrees. So it's not that far off, not even 10 degrees, maybe 7. It's a little bit more than, probably 7. And then they want you to cut out a 5-inch hole, but I only had a 4.5-inch saw, so I went with that. I'll keep an eye on it, and if it looks like it's going to be problematic, I'll check it out. This winter, I ran the kerosene heater last year, and the smoke from when it didn't burn right, sometimes it's just the way that you start it on the kerosene, and it smokes funny for a little bit. Well, that smoke actually went out and it damaged my paint. So I was like, okay, I don't want to do that again. So this is the approved solid wood heater. I can't even smell it, and it's basically going up the chimney, so it's got a proper chimney exhaust now. You install the deck fitting at the top first, and then once you get that all in place, then you work your chimney backwards, and then you want the stove, I guess, as low to the ground as possible, to the floor, because in the wintertime the floor is the coldest. So I might get a little fan or something just to circulate the air down here, one of those heat activated fans. I'll see how that goes, but this is just the first test fitting. Connecting the chimney up was a piece of cake. It was all 3-inch stainless steel. It looks pretty. This was one spot where, Okay, when I get in and out of the V-berth to sleep, it's kind of in the way now a little bit, so I just have to go on that side. But it's also got me a little cozy spot here to sit, because sometimes I sit over there and I just read. So if it's cold, I can throw something on in there, and then I've got a nice little heater. So right now I would say classify that as just warm. The mast is not even, it's still, mast is cold. It's about, I don't know, 10, 12 degrees. It was a warm day, but this is probably not needed, but I just wanted to test it out to see how it does. So you can burn wood. Wood gets really hot. You can burn pellets in it. So I picked up a big bag of pellets for $8, and it's like a 40-pound bag. It's a huge bag. So I don't know how long that'll last, but I guess it depends on how much fire I put in there. And you can burn coal. So I intend on picking up, well, maybe another bag of pellets. So I'll probably have like 100 pounds of pellets on the boat. I'll put it in little plastic baggies, and I'll do the same with coal. And I think what I'll do is I'll put the coal in with the pellets, because the pellet seems to ignite pretty easily. Basically, I just crunched up a paper and put it on top of the pellets. It seems to be working out nicely there. And heat-wise, the chimney's hot. There's a neat little piece on this, which is, it's got basically it's a barometric pressure operated vent, and it's I have to work on it a little bit, but basically once this gets hot, then you can this is supposed to open and suck a little air in, and then what'll happen is that the flame will get a little higher, because it'll affect the draft, the down pressure. But yeah, I already feel like it's, I feel the heat from just that little thing already, so that's cool. And they say don't fire this thing off or light it without being attended, so don't do unattended access. I'm going to have to figure out how hot does this thing actually get. I left the, it's got a slider vent opening. I've got it in the middle. That's basically where it came. And it's supposed to do between 3,000 and 8,000 BTUs. And I'm curious to see if there's any smoke up there. Let's go take a look. So that's the cap. Oh yeah, I can feel the heat coming out of there. And I can smell it, but I can't see it. This is still, oh, it's warm there. Interesting. It is warm. So I'll have to see how this does. Anyways, that's the Dickinson's Newport first burn in, and we'll see how this does for me when it's cold. So this heat shield is cool. It's warm down here. See, I figured having the heat shield on is a good thing, because it means that it'll pick up the heat and radiate it. And the chimney flue itself is hot. This is cool.